Welcome back to the Rookie Numbers Podcast. I'm your host, Bryson Shank, alongside my co-hosts, Nathan Wilt, Peter Schaefer. This is episode 8. Let's get to it. So unfortunately, again, we're without Trent this evening. He's on the IR for a bit. He's on the injured reserve for the time being. We don't know his timetable to return, but hopefully he'll be back soon.
We're wishing him a speedy recovery.
Yeah, the wearer of many hats. All right, so let's get right into it. This week, we're going to be talking about the NBA playoffs again. We'll be recapping the first round along with a quick preview of each second round matchup. So let's get right to it. I think we'll start with the biggest upset of the first round and possibly of the past decade, the Miami Heat over the Milwaukee Bucks. Nate, what did you see from this series? Talk about it.
I saw a team that just kind of slept through this round. I don't think this team prepared enough for this first round matchup. Giannis, great player. He performed as well as he should with his injury ailments, but the rest of the team took him too lightly. Lopez, Middleton with some quality games, but this really falls on Coach Bud. Coach Bud
He was terrible.
He let the team
was
down.
Terrible.
One, he didn't make adjustments, and two, he had no preparation coming into that game.
Yeah.
You can't let Jimmy Butler score 50 points and then like 40 plus the next game. That's something as a team that prides itself on its defense cannot allow to happen.
Right, and like you said, Giannis was injured in game one, but how much of an effect did that really play? Or how much should it have played? Obviously losing arguably the best player in the world is going to hurt your team.
Yeah.
For sure.
But I thought even without Giannis, this was a winnable series for Milwaukee. We talked about it last week. And I said, and I believe you said as well, that the Milwaukee Bucks could have pulled it off without Giannis.
I think they could have. If they were going at full speed, I think they should have.
Now, the Heat, I think they got a little bit lucky. They shot 45% from three as a team.
Yeah.
They shot near like 60% contested threes, which you're not going to see very often from a team.
No.
But what a job by the Heat to beat the Milwaukee Bucks.
I mean, the Heat took advantage of just somebody who wasn't prepared. I mean, we're in the playoffs. Teams got to come to play.
Right, and you talked about Coach Bud. Like I said, he was awful.
Yeah.
He was just terrible this series. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I can tell you multiple moments from the final minutes in Game 5. On the play where Jimmy Butler had that wild shot off the inbound.
Oh, yeah.
Brook Lopez was out of the game.
I don't know how you do that.
Bud took Brook Lopez out of the game. You need to defend the rim. DPOY runner-up. That's who you want in there.
Yeah.
Sure.
You had the final possession, which I think was the worst moment of the series for Milwaukee. They got the rebound off a Heat miss, and were taking it down the floor. Down 2, 13 seconds left. Grayson Allen doesn't even put up the final shot.
Yeah.
They don't get a shot off.
I don't know what was going on.
Bucks have a timeout. They don't use it. I think Coach Bud killed Milwaukee this series. Great job, Jimmy Butler. Great job to the Miami Heat, Eric Spoelstra. But I think the Bucks got in their own way this series.
For sure. And, I mean, points coming down at the end of the game, free throws, they win the tip right to Giannis, throws it away. Giannis, I think, sure, he made the right play, not an excellent free throw shooter, but you got to take those shots. You can't risk a wild tip pass to somebody who's not expecting the ball.
Right.
I mean, like this is going to be a permanent stain on Giannis's legacy. I know there's been a lot of people saying that he should go down as a top 10 player all time, which I kind of agree with.
Not yet, but his career trajectory, sure.
Yeah, but this is something that people are going to look back on when talking about him, like that he should not have lost this series.
Right. Right, and it certainly is on Giannis. It's on the whole team, but it's also on Giannis.
Yeah.
Him included, they just couldn't get any offense going in the fourth, especially in games 4 and 5. I have the stats here. In games 4 and 5, the Bucks 20.5 points. In the fourth quarter, the Heat 36.5. Heat outscored them by over 15 points in the fourth. Came back down 14 plus twice in games 4, game 5. Just unexcusable from the Bucks.
There are so many talking points I have about this series, right? First off, since we brought it up so recently, Nathan, obviously this will affect Giannis's legacy. But what I will say is he has a good mindset After the game, he had an interview. He was interviewed by someone asking about if
Is the season a
yeah,
failure?
is the season a failure? And I think everyone in the league, or most people, I'd say, would probably say that was a failure. And honestly, it probably is a failure. But Giannis basically said that I forget his exact quote, but he said that there's no failure and there's only building blocks to success.
I disagree.
I personally, I think that's a good mindset to have, right?
That's a good mindset to have if you're the OKC Thunder.
Yes, I think
Just a regular person going through life, that's a pretty inspirational
But
quote.
not if you're the one seed
Yeah.
Milwaukee Bucks.
Like, not if you're a team in the prime of your contending window in a not stacked league, a pretty equal league. Like, this is a year you need to take advantage of.
Right. And the
Giannis,
Bucks were favored to win the championship coming into the playoffs. I think it is absolutely a failure on that team.
but I mean, Giannis historically he's a winner, right? He's already won one championship. But I mean, the Bucks they're so high up in the East every single year. I think they'll come back strong next year for sure. But yeah, I would consider this season a failure. But I think Giannis is going to have this team going in the right direction like he always does.
Yeah, I think there is some retooling to be done on the roster, though.
Yep.
One of their biggest problems, there was no point of attack defense on Butler at all. I mean, and the Bucks threw anybody at him. They threw Giannis, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. Just nothing was working. This roster is getting very old. And when you have a guy like Giannis, age 29, whatever he is now, I think they just gotta retool the roster starting this offseason because I don't think what Milwaukee has in place right now will win them a championship after the season.
Yeah, you've got to get new guys in there. You got to refill the lineup. Middleton, Holiday, fine players, but I think you can keep one of them, but keep Lopez probably. You got to recycle everyone else. You need
Right.
some fresh blood in there. You need to shake it up. Know that all these guys' jobs aren't safe. They have to come in and win every season. That is the goal, is to win a championship.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think we'll move on to the Cleveland Knicks series. Another upset. The Knicks take down the Cavs in 5 games. Peter, what'd you see?
I think what we saw, the Cavs, they thrived off of defensive success the whole year, and this just didn't carry over to this series.
Right.
That's a problem. Honestly, in the Cavs offense, they weren't good either.
Mhm.
This should go without saying, but when you're not good offensively or defensively in a series, it ain't going to go over well.
You're not going to win a game
Yeah.
like that.
Exactly. Honestly, I mean, I figured this was gonna be one of the best series of the playoffs this year, and it just didn't turn out to be that way. And
Right.
it's disappointing, but I don't know. I'm just really disappointed in the Cavs. I thought they had a lot more in them.
Yeah, in my predictions, I had go into the Eastern Conference Finals. I think I said in the first episode, slot the Knicks in there. It's a 50-50 series. I think the Knicks are going to go to the conference finals. But there's one word for the Cavs that just pops out to me. It's inexperience.
Yeah.
This team didn't take advantage of this playoffs. They're just a young team. They're young. They weren't really hungry this series. They were not really adjusted to the league, I'd say. They're going to learn very soon that you can't waste opportunities like this.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Jared Allen said it himself after Game 5. He said the lights were too bright.
Yeah.
That's what he said. That's the quote. The lights were too bright. And, it's just, I think an inexcusable loss for the Cavs. They lose this series, fine. It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
You can't lose in 5 games like that.
Yeah.
And I think mentioning Jared Allen, I think him and Mobley are to blame for this series. The rebounding numbers for this series are ridiculous. The Knicks killed the Cavs on offensive rebounds, and I think that solely won them the series.
Even Randall went down towards the end.
Right.
They had the scoring the whole way through. It
Right.
was just,
Yeah.
It was a failure on almost all points by the Cavs.
Yeah.
I don't really think this falls on Bickerstaff. I don't think he could have planned something. This is solely on the players
I agree.
and the leadership of this team.
Right. Or that lack thereof. It's still a young team. They do have time, but a team that's technically, I would say, in contention now, they gotta win that series. They
Yeah.
gotta at least get out of the first round.
For sure.
So moving on, this one we'll go quick through this series. Sixers versus the Nets, clean sweep.
Yeah.
I like it. Go Sixers.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously Sixers doing a great job out there. But the Nets impressed me. We knew going into the series they wouldn't score. They really can't score. Besides maybe Bridges, they don't have a creator, but I love the defense they played this series. It was I watched every game this series, 4. It's not a big boast, but just great defense the whole way through by them. I think they get a creator, some more offense in there. They get some more time to gel. This team could be scary next year.
Right. The Nets defense did hold the Sixers to under what they were projected every single game, except for one, I believe. Great defense by the Nets, but just no offense. And
Yeah.
no surprise. We
Yeah.
knew that. You trade Durant, you trade Kyrie.
Yeah.
Shout
Yeah.
out to them for doing what they did this season.
Yeah.
I think they can go a lot of different directions this offseason, and I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they have some promise. Just not this year.
Yeah,
Not this year.
Sixers
Definitely
are
not
good.
their year.
Shout out to the Sixers. They went in there. They got business done.
Yep.
And they got out of there.
Just what you
You
need
know,
to
the
do.
Nets-
they did exactly what they were supposed to do, and I have no complaints for the Sixers. And honestly, I didn't really expect much from Brooklyn,
Mhm.
so I don't,
Yeah.
I don't really have much to say about them.
Yeah.
Either.
Right.
I mean, coming into this playoffs, the least amount of urgency was on the Nets. And the result turned out how everyone expected, and nothing really to be said.
Yeah, that's that.
Yep.
So moving on, final matchup in the East, we had the Celtics taking on the Hawks. Kind of a little surprise in the series. I thought the Hawks played up to Boston pretty well for
They
the
did.
most part.
Yeah.
They did.
I think they kept most games close. Took it to 6 games, especially in Game 5. Impressed me. Trae Young, 30 points. He had like 13 assists.
Yeah.
Game winner from the logo too on Jaylen Brown. Yeah, the Hawks impressed me this series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Hawks, I mean, Trae Young looks just like he did that one year they had a very impressive run.
Mhm.
I think people have been hating on him a little bit too much. Great. I think this series proved that he's a guy you can really build the team around. Not an ideal guy too, with his defensive, not a great defensive player. But Hawks played some good ball this series, and I think Jaylen Brown's got to step it up next series. I'm a Jaylen Brown fan, but defensively, he was just not there this series, and I think he needs to take that a notch up against the Sixers.
I think it was the very first episode of this show we talked about how Jaylen Brown is the most underrated player in the league.
Mhm.
He did not prove our point.
Yeah, I've been saying it since we started this that I think he's the most underrated player, but he's really got to show me something this postseason because that first round was not it.
Which, you know what? Do it now.
Yeah,
Do it now.
you
It's
want
the round to do it, but they better get the wheels turning.
yeah, you
'Cause
want
they
to
got a tough team coming up.
yeah, you want to get your stinkers out of the way now. Okay, but you got to find yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So moving on to the West. First game, Denver Nuggets taking on the Timberwolves. Another series that was kind of predictable.
Yeah.
Nuggets got away in 5.
Mhm.
I thought the Timberwolves played horribly. Other than Anthony Edwards, I thought for most of the series they sucked. I had Denver winning in 5 games, but I thought the Timberwolves would be able to play a little bit better
Yeah.
versus the Nuggets.
Oh yeah. Sure.
The difference with this series was chemistry, in my opinion. The Timberwolves just didn't seem like they wanted to play, and they didn't want to play together. When the Nuggets, these guys love playing with each other. They got all this connection on the court, this electricity, and more talent too.
Right.
Better coaching. They just had everything better, and they looked like they wanted to be there. It was just a complete and utter rout from the Nuggets.
Yeah, I thought Anthony Edwards played very well, putting up
Oh,
a
yeah.
40 piece, 2 30 pieces. I think the Timberwolves need to start to rethink what they're doing right now because Anthony Edwards, I don't think is a guy that's going to be loyal to the Timberwolves.
He shouldn't be.
He's not going to be a guy that's going to stick around for 10 years just because he was drafted there. I think they really have to take this offseason, think about what he needs because it's no longer Cat's team.
No.
No longer Cat's team. This is Anthony Edwards' team, and I think they're failing him.
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't. I just don't think you can keep Cat. You got a new leading scorer in Edwards phenomenal player, but you just can't have a non-defensive center. Like Gobert's is like if you could find a mix of Gobert and Cat, that would be a perfect mix.
Right.
But that's just not going to happen. You got to pick one and ride with it.
In my opinion, I think they should stick with Gobert.
Me too. I think Cat is at the end of his line. I don't think he's going to be this productive for much more in his career. He's a hole on defense and doesn't offer you efficient enough scoring to really.
Injuries are taking a toll too.
Yeah,
for Cat.
He doesn't really have that bounce to him. He doesn't have that speed anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the Timberwolves do. A disappointing series, but expected nonetheless.
Yeah.
Moving on, a series that I thought would be a lot better. The Suns taking on the Clippers. Ended in 5. You know, the Clippers dealt with a Kawhi injury. Paul George was out for the series. Can't expect them to do much with their 2 stars injured, but
I mean, if you have a fully healthy Clippers team, that's probably the best matchup you can get,
right.
in my personal opinion. But like, it's just so hard to rely on Russell Westbrook to get by a Suns team that is that talented on paper. It's just, I mean, for them even to take a game, I'm impressed. Like, it's, to me, I didn't think this series was going to be much. I think the Suns showed they're here, they're ready to compete. But, I mean, I wasn't really expecting much from the Clippers either, so, you know.
Yeah. I'd like to take this time to apologize to Russell Westbrook. I was one of the people of the belief that he did not have it anymore. He definitely has it. He's a stud when he can just play Russell Westbrook ball. If he could like join like a team with no direction, he would very well be in some of the statistical leads in points, rebounds, and assists. Timberwolves, maybe. But yeah, I think Russ played well. Even when Kawhi was there, he was playing well. I was impressed by the series. Obviously, he had a few Russell Westbrook games where he shot like 1 of 18 and didn't do much. Yeah. But when he's hot, and I just think he had a pretty good series in my opinion.
Yeah. One of the things I talked about at the beginning of the series was I thought it was the toughest matchup of the playoffs for the Suns. Now, granted, you deal with injuries, it's a whole different story. But coming into it with a healthy Kawhi, and if they had Paul George, I think the Clippers would have gotten out of there. It's unfortunate to see that, you know, this had to end in 5 games because of those injuries.
This is the fault with that Clippers team. On paper, this team should be in the finals contention, but they can't stay healthy. They can't stay on the floor. It's time to blow it up if you're the Clippers.
Right. I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah.
So moving on, another great series we had, the Kings versus the Warriors. I would say, you know, I had Warriors in 7 in the series. This just wrapped up just a few hours ago as we're recording this. But this was a great series, I thought.
Yeah. You know, I had the Kings in 7, right? I picked every single series based on my gut feeling and based on what I thought of their playoff experience, except for this series. And I should have gone with it. Obviously, the Warriors ended up taking it. I really thought they were going to be lighting the beam there in Sacramento, but it didn't quite happen. They were close, but hey, I mean, it's hard to beat Golden State when they get to the playoffs.
Right. I think this series kind of wrapped up after Game 1 once the fans started waving off Steph Curry. I think that's where, you know, this series was over.
Yeah.
Even if the Kings won 2 games after that, that's where the series ended.
Game 7 50 bomb from Steph Curry. You can't beat that.
You got to know who you're playing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys watched the previous episode, you know I was very, very high on the Kings coming into this. And I have no problem with that take. If you can take the dynasty, the greatest core of players we have ever seen, to 7 games, win a game in Golden State with little to no playoff experience, an absolute horrid play from Harrison Barnes.
Bright future.
Yeah, bright. Like, that is a great team.
Right.
This might be one of the top 3 or 5 series that we're going to see this playoffs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just electric games, back and forth, energy in both buildings. Teams came ready to play. Both these teams, I mean, the Kings looked like they were playoff experienced. They were coming out every game ready to go. They matched shot for shot with the greatest dynasty we've ever seen. I'm very impressed with the Kings. You know, It's just that at the end of the day, the playoff experience took over. Steve Kerr, better coach, does the same thing. It's a symbol of the series. Kings are just trying to be like the Warriors. The Warriors are just a little more experienced. Not a little, much more experienced.
Yeah.
But that just pushed them over the edge. And they didn't know how to defend Curry. Just caught up to him.
Yeah, Mike Brown coming from the Warriors offense back when it first started. You try to run the Warriors offense, they're going to do it better.
And it's just how it is.
And that's what we saw. I don't think the Warriors are getting enough credit. They went down 0-2 to start the series. And, it's been said it's not a series until the away team wins the game. And that's what we saw here. It was a great series. Great series, in my opinion.
For sure.
You love to see it.
Right. Last series of the first round, the Grizzlies taking on the Lakers. This was a weird one, I thought.
Yeah.
This was a little weird.
This series didn't make sense to me. But, AD said, ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. I like this Lakers team. I don't want to like this Lakers team, but I like this Lakers team. They just look like they can rally. I haven't seen that out of them since they won in the bubble. They just looked like they wanted to play together. They got a lot of depth out of nowhere. I was impressed the whole series.
Yeah, I'm struggling with this series to figure out, is Memphis a great team? The Lakers just beat a great team? Or is Memphis just not that good?
I think Memphis kind of fell into the Cavs situation. Very talented team, just lack of experience against a team with more experience.
Sure.
Just
sure.
LeBron's been there 87 million trillion times, and between all the players that were healthy, the Grizzlies have been there like 5 times. It's a difference of team, in my opinion. But honestly, I'll say it. I was impressed with the Grizzlies. I think they were the dogs coming into this game. Not this game, the series, all that kind of stuff. But I was impressed with what I saw, I'll be honest. Dylan Brooks kind of did him in by egging on the greatest basketball player of all time. Yeah. Something that you should never do. But
yeah, I found it odd. He didn't talk to the media after his losses there.
I know, for such a tough guy.
Yeah.
After
all those stinkers, he wasn't talking.
Yeah, I mean, everybody act tough when they up.
Yeah, I was just about to say it.
Hey, I want my moment, right?
Oh my God.
Next podcast, right? When we meet, not if, when the Lakers win their next series, I want to have my moment. 2 podcast episodes ago, I said that the Lakers were going to win at least 2 playoff series. They're halfway there. I'm going to want my credit. I might not know ball like you guys, but I'm going to want my credit.
I think this is a great transition into our second round previews. We'll start with the Lakers-Warriors series. We'll go bottom up here. Peter, give us your prediction. Who do you think's winning the series? Any day now.
Lakers in 7.
Lakers in 7?
Give me it.
You're so wrong. You're so wrong. Okay, I'm sorry. I know.
Okay,
I know.
Listen.
I know.
I'm not gonna lie. I think the Warriors are gonna win.
Whoa!
No. But I want my take to stay valid.
Don't backtrack like that.
You gotta be confident. Say it with your chest, big guy.
Hey, playoff LeBron. AD stays healthy. Your depth stays the way it has been.
Playoff Curry, young bull. Playoff Curry. Who's better head-to-head in the playoffs? Steph Curry. Yeah, I got the Warriors.
Yeah, when you have Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and
I got the Warriors in 6.
Around you.
I got the Warriors in 6. I think the Lakers. I think they're a good team. They're a good team post-trade deadline. I'm not doubting the Warriors.
I got the Warriors in 6, but not because Curry's a better playoff performer, because that's simply not true.
Yes.
But I got Warriors in 6. Better built team, more experience than that team. They're ready to win. I think the Lakers, with this core, are a year out. They shouldn't be a year out. But thanks to the great GM work of Rob Pelinka, they're a year out.
Yeah. No, I have Warriors in 6 as well. I think, this is going to be Curry and LeBron's last dance. It's going to be exciting. Either way, the league's going to make it exciting. It's probably going to go to 7 just because it has to. the refs will play a big part in the series. I think. You know.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, I think if you throw your hands up and scream and you average more than 15 points per game, you're going to get a foul call in this one.
Right.
And travels are now extended to 4 steps, but in this series alone.
Shout out Jordan Poole.
Shout out Jordan Poole.
God, a terrible player. Anyways, moving on to the next series. Nuggets taking on the Suns. We already saw one game of the series. Nuggets beat the Suns by almost 20 points.
Uh-huh.
It looked pretty bad for the Suns. Nate, what do you have for this series?
Well, if you guys watched the previous episode, I'm going to have a little Peter moment.
Yeah.
That I
give
thought-
him his credit. Give him his credit.
That, oh, don't give me my credit yet. They haven't won nothing. But the Nuggets, I think this is their year. And I said from the start, Suns have 2 big issues. Chemistry, depth. What happened in that game, game 1?
In depth.
Chemistry didn't look like they were going to pass the ball to each other. Didn't look like they were fond of that. And depth. No one besides Chris Paul, Ayton, KD, and Booker really scored. Really took shots. Booker took like 1-3 that game, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
Just the Nuggets had their way with them. It looked like they were playing with their food. Jamal Murray killed whoever was guarding him. It didn't matter. It was just, as a basketball fan, as a Nuggets fan going into this series, I'm loving my pick.
Yeah, no, I have the Suns reaching the finals. I think I want to stick to it, and I'm going to have to, but just let it be known I have my doubts.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Same
if
boat.
if I could rewrite my take, I probably would. But I'm gonna stick to it. I'll go Suns in 6 or 7.
I've got Nuggets in 6. I think we're going to see. I think the Nuggets are going to win their next home game, and then I'm thinking they're winning the first road game. Then I think the Suns take 2, and then the Nuggets can win the next one.
Sure.
That's my exact game prediction right there. And if it's right, I'm getting my Peter moment.
Yeah. You know, this very well could be, if they make it past it, this could very well be the hardest matchup for the Phoenix Suns in this playoffs.
I think this is the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
In my
I-
opinion.
For
I disagree.
I
I
think
think if
these
the-
are the best 2 teams in the West.
I think if the Warriors beat the Lakers, we have a serious
Warriors Nuggets is gonna be fun.
Warriors Nuggets. It's not happening yet, but this is what I'm predicting to happen. That will be a series.
That would be a great series.
That's the 4th of July right there with how many fireworks we're gonna see. That's a big one. That's an all-timer.
Moving on to the East, we'll start with the Sixers and Celtics. I don't think there's much to it. Joel Embiid's listed as doubtful for Game 1 on Monday. We'll see if he plays. Honestly, I don't think he will.
Yeah.
I really don't think he will. I don't know if he plays Game 2.
Yeah.
I think Boston gets away in 5.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you go.
All
You
right,
go.
all right. My original predictions, y'all know, I had the Sixers winning. But,
No, don't walk it back.
no. If Joel misses 2 games, which very well could happen, I don't think this could be much of a series. Unfortunately, it kills me to say it. As much as I really love the Sixers and how they play basketball, I mean, without Embiid, it's going to be really hard for them to compete because they already don't play well against the Celtics to begin with. And if you're down, I'm assuming he's going to be the MVP,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So if you're down this year's MVP going up against a team you already don't play good against, it's not going to end well
Yeah.
for you. And it pains me to say that. Like I said, I love Sixers basketball, but it's just
Yeah.
you know.
Call me crazy. I think the Sixers may have a better chance without Joel Embiid.
I
this series.
disagree. I disagree with
I
my
disagree.
whole entire heart.
Joel Embiid is terrible versus the Celtics. I can't
But-
watch another series of Joel versus the Celtics.
But it's just his impact, his gravity. It touches the ball, 12 guys swarm to him. They got guys coming off the bench to guard him. It's the gravity. But you
either
know,
way, I have Sixers and
Yeah,
or
I
Celtics in 5.
how many times are we gonna see this movie where Embiid, Sixers just walk away in the first round, but Embiid's hurt and he misses significant time or plays significantly worse in the semifinals and loses. I predicted this from the start, but it's really not a prediction at this point. It's just what's gonna happen. I
The
don't know.
Sixers lose second round series.
Yeah, the Sixers lose the second round series because of health. I don't understand. Like, it's just the theme that runs with this team. And when we look back at the great Joel Embiid, we're going to see a man who could not elevate his playoff performance because of injury.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say. It really is, because this team has so much talent, but injury is just going to take it all away.
Right.
For sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Moving on, our last series in the second round, the Heat taking on the Knicks. The series we all expected, of course.
Well, yeah, everyone had this coming in.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the people in my Instagram comments are really proving my point there. They all predicted the Heat
Yeah.
to win here.
Who could have saw this coming
I
besides
had the
everyone
Bucks
in
beating the Heat in
comments?
4. I was terribly wrong.
Yeah,
And hey, they're letting me know. They're letting me know because everybody else was right.
yeah.
They bet the Heat in 5. Peter, we'll start with you. How do you think the series is going to go?
This
Miami
is-
already taking one game.
Yeah, this is, like we've been implying,
Mhm.
very, very much a wild card type of series here. Both teams are pretty similar as far as their offensive production and their level of defense they can play.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's really just going to come down to your star power at the end of it and your overall experience. Jimmy Butler, I mean, you could like him and Curry, they're the hottest guys in the playoffs right now.
Right.
What I would say, right? If Jimmy Butler, if he stays healthy, correct me if I'm wrong, but we could see the first 8 seed win 2 playoff series
Yeah.
in the same,
Yeah, I don't know about the series. I have it going to 7 either way.
Yeah, for sure.
I think. Would I be stupid to go against the Heat again?
I think so.
Well, I'm stupid because I have the Knicks in 7.
Well, I wouldn't say stupid. I'm gonna, with the game happening. If the game didn't happen, I would have taken the Knicks. But I can't ignore the game I watched. I think the Heat got this in 7. You take a home game, and it looks pretty good for them. This is the black sheep of playoff series. I mean, this is a once in a lifetime event. The 5 versus 8 with 2 teams at like midway point of the season. I didn't even know if they were going to make the playoffs.
Right.
This is just, it's weird. It's strange. Whoever wins in the Sixers and Celtics series, I think just gets a free walk to the finals. I know, looking back on that might be a freezing cold take, but I just don't see how these teams stack up to everyone else. The Heat got it done once. Can they get it done again? I don't know. I don't know nothing about the Heat.
I don't think so. I think, like we mentioned, a big factor in their win over the Bucks, 45% from 3 from the team that was bottom 5 in 3-point percentage in the regular season. Duncan Robinson's not shooting 75% for another series.
Yeah.
Kyle Lowry isn't shooting 50% for another series. I get they took game 1. I'm sticking to it. I got Knicks in 7.
Yeah.
My take here, right? These teams, I think they're so equal in this series they're going to play. Honestly, it's going to go to 7, regardless of who wins, in my opinion. But Knicks are going to have home court advantage if it goes to game 7, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends who earns it, but yeah.
Whoever has home court advantage in game 7's winning, especially if it's in Madison Square Garden. I got the Knicks in 7.
Okay. And, I'd like to point out this is the first playoff series ever where seeds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 have all advanced to the second round.
It's
Talk
good
about
to see.
parity.
It's good to see in the NBA.
This is-
We came a long way from when KD was on the Warriors and it was an automatic win. I love to see it. This is nice.
Yeah, I was sick of seeing Cavs Warriors
Yeah.
so many years in a row.
Yep.
That's when I first got into the NBA, and oh boy, was it rough.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. Cavs had the greatest comeback win. Maybe my favorite series of basketball ever. It was great, and I loved it. But that's really the only good thing that came out of those 4 years, and I'm glad that it's officially over.
So I'll tell you what, even the Warriors-Raptors series, Warriors were the clear favorites until Clay went down, until KD went down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's good to see a change. It's good to see parity
Yeah.
in the new NBA.
For sure.
All right, well, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to follow us wherever you're listening, and follow our Instagram and TikTok at Prime Hoops. That's Prime Hoops with a Z at the end. We'll be back next week with a new episode, Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys for watching.